Hey, it's Melanie Hunt with the Hunt Home Team, your favorite Atlanta realtor. I am coming at you with the June market stats. So, I mentioned last month that we had reached the pinnacle of the market back in May, and that is definitely evident in this month's stats. Now, what I want to reiterate is that the news and the media in general is terrifying people right now. You know, fear sells, and it's getting a lot of clickbait, right? And so I'm hearing a lot of, the market's tanking, the market's crashing, blah, 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 blah. And the fact is, yes, it is slowed down dramatically. Are we back to essentially a pre-pandemic market? Pretty much almost there, but it's still an incredible market to both buy and sell. And that is the plain truth of the matter. So here we go with the June market stats for the Metro Atlanta area. In June, the median sales price was $400,000. That was flat over May and up about 17% year over year. The average was at $478, which was up about $3,000 over last month and up about 16% year over year. Price per square foot, we are up to $190 a square foot median. That is up 23% year over year and flat over May. The average was at $204 a square foot. That's up 20% year over year and up just $1 over May. The percent of the list price received by sellers. So we're at 109%. That's the median. That's down from 101.6% in May. The average was at 101.8%. That's down from 102.6% in May. Flat over last year. So it's not that the market has tanked, right? We're still seeing these multiple offer scenarios, and we're still seeing sellers get pretty much what they want for their house in some cases. Now, this past month, we saw a ton, I would say about 25% or 30% of the market took a price cut. And it's not that the prices are dropping. What actually I think happened is the market was going like this, right? We were appreciating 5-10% every month. So sellers were pricing their house for the thing that just listed for $500 but went under contract for $575. They were pricing their house at the $575 or the $550 number. And so we were pricing to stay on this line, but what happened is the line went like this, up, flat, okay? And so people were pricing up here, thinking we were gonna keep on doing that, not realizing that we were coming to a flattening, a plateau, and didn't price it right here. So all those price drops do not mean that the market has dropped in price. What it means is that it wasn't priced correctly for the market to begin with. And now that we're seeing a good amount of those corrections, we're seeing those things continue to move. Now, I mentioned last month that a pre-pandemic market was kind of a tale of two markets, right? So we had this 30-ish% of the market that was priced right and looked fantastic. It sold like that, okay? Multiple offers typically, and got at least their list price. And then there's the other 60% of the market that either doesn't sell and has to relist, or they decide to keep their house. And then the other portion of the market that is overpriced, or it's got some funky conditions about it that requires the price to be lower, or requires a different marketing strategy. And those would take longer to sell and sell for a little bit less than their list price, right? So that's what we're kind of starting to see emerge again. We're definitely starting to see less competitive offers. So longer due diligences, no appraisal gaps written in, nobody's waiving appraisals or contingencies. Let me back up. Less of that. Not that that's not still happening, but a lot less of that is happening, which I think is a good, healthy thing in this market. Days on market, we are flat over last year and flat over last month at 6 median days on market. The average is 17. In June, we had 13,473 new listings hit the market. That's up about 5% over last year and about 800 more listings over May. But you know, that is about the same number of listings as new listings as June of 2019. And then we had about 15,600 total homes for sale in June. That is up a whopping 37% over last year's June. Remember, we were in such a tight, unheard of inventory position last year that these numbers seem staggering, like, oh my gosh, the sky's falling, the market's completely crashing, and it's not, okay? Last time that we had that much inventory was October 2020. Pre-pandemic, June in 2019, 27,000 new listings hit the market in the metro Atlanta area. So only 15,600 is not a lot. I mean, that's still 12,000 less listings in the metro area than June of 19. And June of 19 was still a really good seller's market. So our overall pendings dropped by 26% year over year. We had 7,461 good pending. For context, though, last month in May, we had 9,366 homes go pending. So it's definitely a significant decrease over last month. The couple of things that I think are contributing to this are interest rates going up. People are reevaluating their budget, whether or not now is truly a good time. And anytime there's a little bit of uncertainty, people tend to sit still. June closings, we have 8,050 houses close, and that's down 28% year over year. For context, June is usually the month that we have the most closings of all year. So if you look at the graph of every year number of sales over the last however many years, there is a natural seasonality that occurs. So in January, December, we have the lowest amount of closings, and it ticks on up. May, June, we have the peak, right? We have the most amount of sales happen, and then it kind of goes back down throughout the rest of the year. And so we have this kind of curve every year that happens on the number of transactions. What I think is interesting is that what we saw for the last 2 years is a little bit of that was off because we had a lot less transactions happen during like 2020 March, April, May, right when we were kind of shut down. And then that picked up, and we saw those transactions get picked up in the fall. And then what ended up happening is all of last year, people had a ton of cash, and the interest rates were so fantastic. The people were just buying, right? And we still saw a little bit of that seasonality, but for the most part, it was just gangbuster sales happening. And so now that the rate has dramatically increased again, we're seeing some of that fall off. And I think the number of overall transactions that we've had in the last 2 years has been so great. Those people likely would have bought, just maybe not right then, and it would have been spread out a little bit slower over the next several years. And so I think we're going to see the overall number of transactions slow down. However, the prices and the market is not going to, it's not going to be a dramatic standstill drop of the market. So I've been looking at and reading and listening to all the economists and all the folks who really study this for a living and know exactly what they're talking about as far as the overall market and what it's going to look like for the rest of the year and the coming 3 to 5 years and what they're predicting there. As far as the interest rates are concerned, economists are predicting that for the rest of the year, we are probably going to hover around this 6% line, maybe just a little bit below or a little bit above, plus or minus 50 basis points. But we're likely not going to see any more like extremely dramatic increases like we've had the first half of this year, where we went from 3 to 6 in a matter of 6 months. So I think that provides a little bit more certainty to buyers and sellers about what they're getting into in this market and what the demand is going to look like. So I think right now is the time to get really strategic. If you have a move planned in the next 1 to 3 years, I think it's a good idea to have a conversation with your real estate advisor, hopefully that's me, on what is your current equity position, what could you potentially do to increase that equity position or protect that equity position, and what is it going to look like if you want to make a move in the next few years, and start having that conversation now to plan around it so that you can position yourself in the best way. If you are looking for a new real estate advisor, we'd love to be that for you. Warren Buffett says that he likes to be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. And I think that is something that I've been thinking about, that moving into this period of time where people feel like the sky is falling, there's a recession upon us, that everything's going to drop and rates are going to go crazy, and there's a lot of this fear happening in media, and that's creating more fear in people's lives, that there is a lot of opportunity there. And the great news is that real estate is pretty much the safest investment that you can make if you know what you're doing, and that can set you up for success in the long term. So if you're looking for a new real estate advisor or partner to help you understand these things and how it can affect you in your life, we would love to be that resource for you. Talking real estate is our favorite thing to do. Give us a call, shoot us a DM, drop us a line, give us a comment, all of those things. We're here to help. Visit us at hunthometeam.com or at all of our social channels at